Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 202 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. Why can't I get this right lately? I don't understand. I can't speak lately at the beginning of this. I guess I can't speak in general. Anyway, I'm here with Trevor.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Well, yeah, I know. What a way to start.
It's a good way to start. This is our last episode of the year, so we're allowed to be a little punchy about it.
Yeah, exactly. This is the last real episode. Well, not real episode. It makes it sound like the waitlist episodes are not real episodes. But let's be honest, I don't want to say they're filler, but they're kind of filler.
No, it's a standard episode versus a topical episode. So let's make that delineation.
That's
right?
fair. Yeah, it's just me and Trevor at the moment. Damon may be joining us. Who knows? But for right now, it's Trevor and I.
Yep.
But. Yeah, I mean, I'm just still trying to get ready for the holidays. I mean, like, we're a week out of Christmas now. And first of all, Christmas being on the weekend just kind of throws me off, right? Like, it feels like it's further away for some reason because it's a week from today, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, like, because it's on the weekend. Like, it just feels further than it is. I don't know.
That's fair. Because, yeah, I guess, you know, in my thinking about it, it feels like, you know, I have a bunch of time to get stuff done. Like, I'm on the other end where I'm like, oh, you know, we don't have to, you know, rush to go, you know, shopping for food for Christmas dinner, you know, stuff like that. But I get what you're saying is that I feel like when it's when it's on the weekend or closer to the weekend, it kind of you don't realize how quickly it does come up.
Yes. Yeah. Right? It's like, it almost gets lost a little bit. It's like when it's like in the middle of the week on like a Wednesday, you're like, oh, okay, now I gotta get stuff done the weekend before. But because it's a weekend, I don't know. It's just a weird feeling I get.
Yeah. And it's a Sunday too, which, yeah, I guess usually it would be like exactly what I was talking about is, you know, you go out and do shopping like a couple of days before. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, usually that would be like you said, oh, you know, you do it on the weekend before or whatever. But now it's like, well, am I going out on like Friday to do my shopping? Which, you know, you're still working. Yeah, I don't know.
I have so many things in transit right now too. Like, there's just so many gifts that are on their way. There's one gift that hasn't shipped yet that I ordered like a month ago, and then everything else is like on its way. I mean, not everything else. I mean, we have a lot of gifts in the house already, but there's a bunch of gifts that are still just like somewhere in the UPS, FedEx, or US
Ether
system. Yeah, just out there somewhere. Like, one of my gifts shipped, and it said, and I you know, they send you the tracking information, and I like I look it up, and it goes, oh, you know, can't find your package, and it's like, oh, well, that's not good. So like I give it like 4 days, you know, because sometimes like 24 hours, like it takes, you know, to get in the system and it doesn't show up right away. So I give it a couple days. I reach out to the company. They're like, oh, sometimes they don't scan it, you know, when they accidentally don't scan it in. So it'll just randomly like show up somewhere.
Yeah. When it hits a depot somewhere, it'll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah, sure enough, like 2 days later, it's like, oh, okay, this is just somewhere. It's out there. It's just somewhere. So I've also noticed too that it seems that the shipping companies are like way overestimating. You know what I mean? They're saying like, oh, it'll show up on the 24th, but then it shows up on the 20th. Like, I've had a couple things now that have showed up like 3 days earlier than they're supposed to. So
that is a viable tactic because it sets reasonable expectations. So
it does.
People aren't calling going, you know, where's my package? It's 2 days overdue. No, we said it would be here sometime next week, right?
Exactly. And some of these things are still freaking me out though, because I have a couple that are supposed to be delivered on Christmas Eve, and I'm like, oh, come on now. Like, I need to get these things before then, you know?
So, do you want to hear something funny? So I'm kind of in the opposite boat from you that so all of my gifts arrived. And actually, and the funny thing is I had a couple of things that I ordered off of Etsy.
Which take that extra time.
Yeah, like I was worried about them because it's like, you know, Etsy's good. Like, you know, people do good stuff on there, but, you know, sometimes it's like they take longer to ship because, you know, it is usually just like
it's just the person
doing it. And so I was like, you know, I'm worried about these. They actually they arrived like a week and a half ago, and I was like, oh, great, nice. You know, these are out of the way. But then I ordered something for myself that is just like somewhere like what you're seeing. And it's funny
somewhere
because,
out there.
yeah, because it's like I'm not super worried about it. I'm a little disappointed. So I'm a tea drinker. I don't drink coffee. I actually drink green tea, and I drink loose leaf green tea. So like I try not to order the packets. I actually have like a little steel tea.
It's like a little ball.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a little ball thing that I use to for my tea. So I buy a bunch of loose leaf tea, which usually lasts me throughout the year, and I still have some, but I ordered some specifically for Christmas because I was like, I like to have something different, to enjoy over Christmas. And so I ordered for anyone in Canada. Or actually, I don't know if it's international or multinational or not. There's a company called David's Tea. If you probably never
I'm not a big tea drinker, so I mean, maybe that's well known amongst the tea folks, yeah, I think, but not for me.
I think they may actually be based out of Quebec in Canada. I should probably double check that. So yeah, I guess outside Canada, you maybe don't know it, but either way, I ordered from them, and the funny thing is that they've been fairly communicative about, or basically what I've gotten emails from them saying, yeah, we're shipping your package, but our system is overloaded at the moment.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll get it to you when we get it to you, kind of thing. Which I'm a little disappointed because it was like I ordered that like at the end of November, so it actually had a lot of time to get here, and it's the one thing that seems to like I don't think I'm going to get it before Christmas, which is not the end of the world, but like I said, it's a personal thing. Is I just like having some festive tea for Christmas, which looks like that's the only thing that's not going to happen this year for me.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
I just went on their website and it says Toronto is where they started, and they have a tea podcast. Look at that.
Oh, do they?
They do.
I usually just go in there and I go straight to the green tea and order stuff and then leave. I don't actually read.
You don't actually care about the story behind the company.
The funny thing is they used to have stores there was stores in Calgary, so I used to go to the store, but then because of COVID they shut down and went to online. So
yeah,
yeah,
I get that. I get that. Just one of my gifts is from a company that's like fairly new, and it was like a Kickstarter like last year, and so like this year's like their first year like shipping stuff, and that's the one I ordered from like a month ago, and I still haven't gotten it yet. So I'm like starting to worry that this thing's not going to ship. And I mean, they're claiming that it's going to. They said if you ordered before this date that they're going to ship before Christmas, but it's like, we're recording this on Sunday before Christmas. It has not shipped yet, and they were like guaranteeing it would be delivered by Christmas. I'm like, don't have a ton of time left. You might want to get on it.
I don't know how your delivery companies work, but I noticed around here, like going into December, people put in overtime as they do this time of year. So I've had stuff show up on like a Sunday before.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not saying it'll show up on Christmas, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody shows up like Saturday, like Christmas Eve, to deliver your package.
Yeah, no, my uncle was a UPS driver, and he's retired now, but he was a UPS driver, and we'd always have like a Christmas Eve party every year, and he'd always show up late to the Christmas Eve party because he was working Christmas Eve and working really long hours to finish up deliveries and stuff. So they definitely work a lot of extra hours. So yeah, and for all the delivery people out there,
thank you. Yes,
thank you for all your hard work. Yeah,
we appreciate your efforts because it means that we get to enjoy our Christmases too. So thank you.
I don't know if we have anybody that listens. If there's anybody that's a FedEx or UPS or, I mean, any delivery service that listens to us, let us know, because I would find that kind of cool if you were listening to us as you were doing your job. That'd be cool.
yeah, that would be cool for sure.
Anyway.
All right. Do we want to get into some listener questions?
Yeah, let's do that. So, right. Francisco, you want to do Francisco's?
Yeah. So, Francisco says, on episode 201, you were discussing how camera flashes reveal how dark rides operate and ruin the experience. It would be interesting if Disney offered dark ride attractions to be lit and exposed for special events. And instead of the regular narration, it would be the Imagineers describing how each set/section are created as you go through the ride. So I guess it's not really a question.
Not really a question. Yeah, it's more of an idea.
Yeah, I do like that. That is a like kind of like a behind the scenes tour in Living with the Land, but specific to a ride. Kind of showing mechanisms and stuff like that. The only, or I guess. We always say this, there always has to be a disclaimer with these kinds of things that, it does kind of kill the magic a little bit.
It does.
Right?
Yeah, no, it does.
Or, for some people it may, because then like, for me, I would, I would look at that and be like, that's cool. But then I know that there would be people to be like, I went on the tour and I saw this and this is how this works. And like, to everybody else in the queue that, didn't want to hear it. Right. So,
well, it's interesting. The ruining the magic thing is interesting, right? Because I feel like and they've done this before on Space Mountain but I mean, I think they've only done it for like cast member events. I don't know if they've ever done it as a special event for regular guests, but there are videos out there of Space Mountain with the lights on, not just from when it broke down, but from special events that they've done, right? So for me, like Space Mountain, it doesn't ruin the magic for that one, right? Because like you're seeing the track and everything, and it doesn't look as impressive with the lights on, right? But that doesn't change the experience I feel like I have with the lights off, right? Like, I don't know, for me anyway. But
I mean, I did it with the Christmas lights in Space Mountain, which you can see everything quite clearly. Like it's actually really? I mean, because there's like not strobe lights, but like spotlights and all kinds of stuff going on. So you can very easily see the track and see what's going on around you for a Christmas Space Mountain. So, I think there's a difference between that and like if they turn on just the overhead lights. Like I feel if they were going, like for that ride in particular, if they're going to do the lights on, like do something where, it's more lit up like the Christmas party, but not like just fully, not just the fluorescent, like lights on. Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. In a weird way, I'd almost be interested to do Pirates with the lights on, which, there's not that much to see there that's different, but like, it'd be kind of almost interesting to see what the drop looks like with the lights on,
Yeah. And the interesting thing about that is it does kind of break the sense of space in the ride if you do that, because like most people aren't looking for this stuff, but it is a building and there is like, like you can see like the top corner of the room and stuff like that if you're really looking for it.
Yeah, that's true.
But the interesting thing is like when you're in those scenes, like it kind of, Disney's very good at projecting that, like, if there's like the water, right. And like, behind the boat where Barbossa is, that, you kind of get the impression that there's just like the ocean back there. Right.
Yeah.
But, like you said, if you have the lights on, you'll actually see like, oh, the wall is actually just like, 10 feet behind the boat or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So
They hide a lot with darkness. I mean, I will say, if you've done Keys to the Kingdom, you see a lot of the magic ruining stuff, right? Where like, you look at a thing like Splash Mountain, right? And then if you walk behind Splash Mountain, you're like, oh, that's not all real rock. Like in your mind, like, you're thinking, oh, that it's all filled out, like all the way around it. It's like, oh no, it's just like a skeleton. It's just a facade. Right. And like, that's how most Disney stuff is. Right. But your brain doesn't think that way. Right. Like you only see the one part. So yeah.
You need to go to California Adventure. So Radiator Springs is
it's done all the way around. Yeah.
Well, no. So here's the funny thing is that actually, I guess you kind of see the same thing with Everest as well, right? Where like the backside of the mountain is just cut off. Oh yeah. So Radiator Springs does that, but the funny thing is that where it sits, right behind it is. Sorry, I'm going to mess for anyone who's in California. I'm sorry, I'm going to mess this up. It's either Harbor or Catella. I think it's Harbor Boulevard. That's right behind where California Adventure is. You can see like if you're in the park, like you said, it gives that sense of like, oh, look, there's this big mountain range in the back, and it's this like big open space. But if you go out onto Harbor, there's literally like where that like the front of that mountain is. You can actually see where it cuts off and is just like cut right off. And it's funny because they're like, it's just a public street, right? Like it's not like Disney can't hide that.
Yeah, they can't hide it. Yeah.
But it's funny how like from inside the park, they keep that illusion there. But as soon as you walk outside the park, there's just like a flat wall there.
Well, and I think the worst example of this is at Disney World, actually, and I've noticed it the past couple of trips is you could see the backside of Galaxy's Edge on the road when you're on the bus.
Yeah.
And you can see it very clearly, like it's not blocked at all, and you can see all the hollowness of it. Yeah,
the spire, there's a couple of spires that are like on metal poles.
Yeah, they're just sitting on metal poles. Yeah, and there's just a metal pole, and then all of a sudden rock work, right? Like, yeah. It's just kind of funny because you can see that, and you can also see it, especially if you stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can see the back end of Pandora, which is the same thing. It's all just facades, but you. Like in your mind, you don't really think that until you see it, right? And so, but for me, I also look at it though. I know those things are facades because I've seen the back sides of them. But when I see them on the other side, it doesn't ruin it for me. You know what I mean? Like it still looks impressive from the side where they want me to see it. Yeah,
because you're not seeing both, right? And
exactly.
I think that may go back to what Francisco's saying is that if you kind of see like how it's supposed to look and then the behind it at the same time, I think that's worse than like you said, you see it like, oh yeah, I saw it from, the road or whatever. But then when you're in there, it doesn't break the illusion. Right. So,
well, and none of these dark rides are going to look impressive with the lights on, by the way. Like it's going to, because they're not intended to have the lights on. Right. So there's all the finishing work that Disney does is, they at a certain point, Yeah, at a certain point, they stop doing the finishing work, right? And because it's going to be dark and you're not going to see it anyway, right? So, like...
Well, yeah, it's lighting that covers it up, right? The finishing work is, they use a spotlight to focus on one area versus another, right? So,
like, I don't know if I'd want to go on, like, Haunted Mansion with the lights on because I feel like that is a ride where a lot of it is just... it's just not going to look good with the lights on. It's going to look kind of bad. I
would want to see the Escher room with the lights on.
All right. Yeah.
Because that room, I know how some of the effects are done, but it's still very I think that room is a lot smaller than people realize.
Okay.
That would be an interesting because they create a very interesting sense of like spanning staircases in there. So
no, that would be interesting. I'm trying to think of any other ride that I would want to see the lights on. I mean, honestly, I think the old version of Test Track where you could see everything was better than the lights off version. So bring that on.
Same thing. I think would be another.
What's another one that's dark that we could do?
Here's the thing: is that some of the newer rides, like something like Rise of the Resistance and whatnot, I wouldn't want to. I don't think I would actually want to see those
that
rides.
It's not that much in the dark, though. I mean, that one is pretty lit up. I feel like,
but I mean, but I guess I'm just talking about if they were going to do like a behind the scenes type tour.
Oh yeah.
Because that's kind of what Francisco was saying is not like it doesn't have to be necessarily a dark ride, but any ride where it's like they use effects and whatever. Instead, they turn off the effects and they just show you how it mechanically works, right? Like I think there's certain rides I wouldn't want to see that.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just trying to think of what else. I mean, would you want to go on Rock and Roller Coaster with the lights on?
No, not really.
Yeah. I mean,
because part of it, because they got all the black light, the signs, and then they would turn the music off, and that's part of what makes the ride enjoyable is you've got the music accompanying the ride. It's the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy as well. As if you told me to ride that without the music and everything, I wouldn't be as interested.
All right, I've got one. Yeah, I got one. Dinosaur.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I do Dinosaur with the lights on. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Which would be basically like riding Indiana Jones with a bunch of dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can actually see in Indiana Jones, you can actually see the whole track. You can,
because the lights are on in that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's fire effects and it's not they don't cut off the section, so like you can actually see cars ahead of your car, like going across the bridges and stuff. Yeah, it's actually very cool. Like the way that they time it is like you see another Jeep going across one of the bridges, and they actually use that to great effect, I think.
Okay,
but yeah, I think in Dinosaur you would be It would be funny.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be funny because most of the dinosaurs are not fully like fleshed out, right? Like,
no,
the one at the end is just like a head, probably, right? So,
yeah. If you took away all the bushes, it would not be.
it would look bad.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I think it would be interesting, right? Because there are whole parts of that ride that are completely in the dark. You know, and I just think it would be interesting to see those parts that are completely in the dark. But again, probably going to be unimpressive, right? They're probably just going to be, it's, you know, not going to be anything that you really even want to see. There's a reason why Disney hides these things, right? So
yeah.
Well, but anyway,
again, I wish we could plan a trip for you to go to California.
It's going to happen one of these
days. If you rode Indy, you would be like I guess it depends on how well you know.
Yeah. Like, why don't they do this at Disney World? Yeah.
Yeah. But because depending on how well you know Dinosaur, you would actually be like, oh yeah, this is where the dark part, like there's no there's one dark section in the Indy ride, but it's one turn and it's very deliberate. Like it's not, it's actually for effect. It's not that they're hiding something.
Yeah. I definitely would want to go. I definitely want to go on that ride. That's, you know, be interesting. Although I'm not like, you know, this is probably going to be a bad thing to say. I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I like Indiana Jones, but it's not like, I'm not like a crazy fan with that.
No, that's fair.
Oh, by the way, speaking of movies, I did go and watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special the other night. Which did you watch it, Trevor?
No, not yet. So that's kind of leading up to Christmas. That's on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's on your list. Okay, yeah. No, it was good, and it's fairly short, right? So it's like, you know, and it's kind of, it's funny because as I was like watching it, I'm like, and you know, like James Gunn has a very particular kind of like musical sense, right? So and so just listening to it, and it's like all these Christmas songs that I've never heard before by like popular bands. It's like, oh, I never knew the Smashing Pumpkins had a Christmas song. How did I not know this? Like, you know, like just really random stuff like that. There's so many random Christmas songs in there that I never heard in my life.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I actually thought it was going to be, or, you know, when I thought Guardians of the Galaxy and Christmas, I thought they would just use like the Boney M Christmas album.
Yeah. No, it's all sorts of interesting music in there. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. To me, like I get, because Boney M was, I don't even remember when that album was released, but it seems like something that would kind of fit with like Peter Quill's style of music.
Yeah. Listen, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I mean, it's just a quick short, and I mean, it's like 40, I think it's like 45 minutes long. It's like, you know, not a huge time commitment, but it was fun and kind of, you know, it was like heartfelt too. It was good. I liked it.
Good.
Yeah, and it feels like it was setting something up too for like the next Guardians movie too.
They took the opportunity to drop hints for the third one.
Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah. Anyway,
right, let's keep going with these questions because we've barely gotten past the first one.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is
especially when Damon's not here to be like, all right, next question.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Dan says, what traditional Christmas foods do you like in particular? Which ones do you hate? Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, listen, my favorite part of Christmas is like the amount of cookies and sweets and such that are allowed to be eaten without guilt. You know what I mean? Like I love baking stuff. I actually just was baking chocolate chip cookies earlier, but before we started recording. But I love baking, and I also just love eating all of that stuff. I do also like a good ham, which is, you know, is a fairly traditional thing, I think. I don't know if I'd say I hate it.
Dr. Pepper ham?
What's that?
You ever had a Dr. Pepper ham?
I've not had a Dr. Pepper ham. We always buy honey baked hams. I don't know if that's a thing in Canada, but honey baked ham.
Yeah, we get those, but we also we glaze ham with Dr. Pepper as well.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love Dr. Pepper.
It is my really
soda
good
of choice. So that sounds amazing. No, we lately have been going with the honey baked hams just because it's easy and you know, they're delicious, obviously. So Yeah, I think that's what we're doing this year too. And then we're probably going to make some sides ourselves. It's probably going to be like the same sides as Thanksgiving, honestly. So
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, that's fair. I was agreeing. Like there, we do the same thing. It's a lot of the same food that you have at Thanksgiving, you have at Christmas, or at least.
Well, I know your wife's a big baker too, right? Your wife
Yeah.
likes to bake a lot. So, but yeah. So for me, I don't really have like one that I hate. I feel like the thing people would say is like fruitcake or something, but like I don't think I've ever received or been near a fruitcake before. Like it's like not a thing that exists in my world.
Lucky you.
Yeah, no, it's just not a thing. And yeah, go ahead, dude.
So I've had fruitcake, and I do not like fruitcake.
Do not care for fruitcake.
I know that. And the other thing that I don't like at Christmas is and I guess I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but the pot of gold chocolates.
Okay, yeah.
So it's such a it's like playing roulette, right? Like there's some of them that are okay, and to be honest, like overall, like pot of gold is not good chocolate. No. Sorry, anyone who disagrees with me, you're wrong. It's not good chocolate. And yeah, it's like some of it is, it's like, it's like hazelnut or whatever, but then they'll do like some weird flavor. It'll have like some like syrup in the middle or something. And yeah, I do not like getting like a pot of gold or a box of pot of gold. And somebody always it's always like, hey, a coworker, hey, Merry Christmas, here's a small box of pot of gold or something. And against my better judgment, every year I'm always like, like you said, eating sweets and stuff at Christmas is just something you do. So it's like, even though I know better, I still open the box and I still look through it, and I still end up trying a couple of them until I finally remember why I don't like eating them, and then I throw out the rest of the box.
See, for me, I'm like, listen, I'll slum it with some chocolate is the same way for me as pizza. Like sometimes I'll slum it with pizza, and I'll get like some garbage pizza from somewhere. And then sometimes I want some good pizza. It's the same thing with chocolate for me. Like I will eat the garbage chocolate because I like chocolate. But do I prefer the good stuff? Yes, of course. But if chocolate is in front of me and it's semi-edible, I will eat it. I'm a big chocolate person. So, but I do, like when I go to buy, like I made brownies the other day and I bought like really like good cocoa like powder, you know what I mean? Like, or like I always buy like the really expensive like chocolate chips when I make cookies because I feel like they make a big difference, right? So I don't know. It's I just like chocolate. I just enjoy chocolate regardless. And I actually was just at the grocery store and they had advent calendars on sale because we're halfway through. We're halfway through at this point, so they're just trying to get
they're half off because they're half used at this point.
They're half off because they're half used. But they had Disney ones, they had like Mickey Mouse ones, and I could just tell from looking at them that there was garbage chocolate in them. You know what I mean? Like there was just not good chocolate in them. And I had before Christmas, I bought one for my daughter, an advent calendar, because she really hasn't done one before, that had Lindt chocolate. It was made by Lindt. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be good stuff. Of course, she doesn't share with me, though. She eats it all herself. But, it's funny. Like,
same way in my house.
Yeah.
My kid has an advent calendar and I don't get any of it.
That's what I'm saying. I should have bought one for myself.
Or you can just buy chocolate and eat chocolate. You don't need an advent calendar.
Well, that's a thing we do too. Yeah, for sure. I always think of too, and I don't know if this is one of those cultural things that's different, but like the blue tin of cookies. Oh gosh, what kind of cookies?
Oh, you know
what I'm talking about?
Yes. What are those? I need to look this up now.
I know. I'm frantically Googling. Yeah. Oh yeah, so there's those hard cookies. What are they called?
Royal
Danish
Dance?
butter cookies. Yeah, Danish butter cookies.
Yeah,
that is for some reason a thing that always appears at around the holidays. I don't even know who brings them. They just show up somehow. And I mean, they're fine, but they're not my favorite thing. I will say I like a soft cookie though. See, I'm a little bit different. I like a soft cookie, and I don't like a real hard cookie. That doesn't do it for me. But I mean, I'll eat it still. Again, I'm not picky when it comes to cookies, but I prefer a soft one if I were going to choose.
It's the same thing for us. Is we, like you said, my wife bakes a lot. You know that you've we've sent you baking before.
Yes.
So she's I think she said she was planning to do some red velvet cookies, which
Nice.
I think for me, my favorites are, and this may not necessarily be Christmassy, like red velvet definitely, she decorates them up and everything, so they are very Christmassy looking. I like red velvet, and peanut butter is actually my favorite thing. Like I don't go so much looking for chocolate, but if it's like chocolate peanut butter or something, then I'm usually in on it. So kind of like you, is I will eat questionable candy that it happens to have peanut butter in it.
If there's peanut butter in it, I'm going to eat it. That's I get that. I'm with you.
So I don't know if you remember. I think we sent you some the peanut butter marshmallow squares.
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are actually my favorite for around the holidays.
Nice.
Like that's something that my wife actually got that recipe from my mom, who made them when I was a kid, and so I've just had those my entire life. And yeah, they're my favorite. So
nice.
Yeah.
No, I love all the desserts of the holidays. That's the best part of the holidays to me is doing that stuff. And a good hot cocoa. I like a good hot cocoa. That's always fun too. So I don't think I hate any of them. So
looking back at the questions, we kind of inadvertently answered Francisco's question while we were answering Dan's question.
Francisco had a follow-up to Dan's of what unique foods does your family enjoy during Christmas. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Okay. So actually I do have something for this. Okay. So, so my mom has done a Christmas Eve party for a long time for all of my family. Right. And, that continued all the way up until 2020. And it wasn't because of the pandemic. It's my parents retired and moved. And so, and none of my family is in New Jersey anymore. We all used to go to New Jersey. We'd go to their house. It'd be a big thing. There'd be like 30 people there, right? Like family and cousins and friends, and like everybody would show up. So, but my mom always makes this, like she would always make these appetizers there. And so it's a thing that like continues at our house. Now that we're doing, things here, which I don't even know how to describe these things that my mom makes, but so one of them is called, we just literally, we call them little breads. That's what they're called. They're these little pieces of bread, and there's a mix that goes on top of them that has it's like olives, cheese, bacon. I think the base of it is like mayonnaise or something. And there's like some seasoning that's in there, and you just put them on these little breads and you bake them, and it's like the best thing ever. Right. Like it's delicious every time. Maybe onions. I think there's onions in there too. And so it's just one of those things we've been eating forever. And then she also makes like these tortilla things that have like a mix in between these tortillas. Again, it's like an appetizer thing, and that she's been doing for years and years and years, that we've just always had at Christmas time. And so even though it's not really like a Christmas food, I associate it with Christmas because we only really have them like Christmas Eve or like, some other event we might have, but Christmas Eve was always the time we'd have them. So yeah. So that's, and I mean, we'll be having those again this year. So that's probably my unique food, I would say. Yeah.
We don't have anything like that. Like I said, for us, it's usually the baking, my wife has kind of continued the tradition of the Christmas baking. Actually, I think, or the unique things I think that we have is, now that I'm thinking about it, so those peanut butter squares, there's actually a lot of squares that happen in our larger family. So there would be raspberry squares, which had like a raspberry jam and like it was almost like an apple crumble, but you make it with raspberry. So we would have those, and then there's Nanaimo bars, which there's actually two different. And you're gonna be like, I think we've talked about Nanaimo bars.
We talked about it before, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So there's regular Nanaimo bars, which have like a custard in them, but I usually go for the mint Nanaimo bars because it's like chocolate and mint, which is another thing that I like. So those have always been unique things. Like I don't ever see mint Nanaimo bars outside of my family events. Like again, it's something very specific to Christmas. It's not, I don't see them any other time of the year except at Christmas. And that's just a thing here, I guess.
I just looked these up because this is not a common dessert in the States, right? So I just pulled this up. It looks really good.
Because they come from, or they're named after Nanaimo, BC, which is British Columbia. So
Yeah, no,
So
I mean, these look really good.
yeah. So yeah, if you see the yellow filling in the middle, that's the traditional ones, but you can also get mint Nanaimo bars, which
Oh, that sounds good.
is a it's a little twist that is something that I really like.
Nice. I'm kind of this is interesting to me now. I feel like I want to make these just because.
They're good. They are very good, and they freeze well too. That's the trick, is that you can make a bunch, throw them in the freezer, and then bring them out when people come over. So.
I feel like our waitlist episode should just be us like talking about holiday foods and be a recipe swap.
We could have done that. Well, oh well.
Yeah, whatever.
we're doing it on the episode, so
yeah, there you go. So your wife actually asked this question, but Damon's not here to answer it. But we can answer the second part of this. So she had asked, what has made Damon afraid of sharks? Did you ever run in with a shark? Did you ever cage dive with great white sharks? But the question we can answer is, what other animals are Tom, Trevor, and Damon afraid of?
Okay.
I will say this. So I do not like bees of any kind. Bees, wasps, even a little bumblebee. I don't like bees. I don't mind anything else. Like spiders don't bother me. Spiders don't bother me. Spider webs bother me. Because I feel like I'm constantly walking face first through spider webs all over the place all the time, and that drives me crazy. But the spiders themselves, whatever. Those don't scare me. But bees, I don't like bees. Like, bees freak me out.
Okay. So funny. So bees don't bother me. Wasps absolutely bother me.
Yeah.
And that's because wasps are aggressive, and they don't care. They will go after you. So I will actively try to get away from a wasp. Spiders don't really, I'm the one who gets to deal with spiders in the house. So most smaller spiders don't faze me. If they get past a certain size, and if they move quickly, then it'll usually make me flinch, but not enough that I won't deal with it at the end of the day. Thankfully, we don't live anywhere where we have tarantulas or anything like that, because those I had a friend who had a pet tarantula, and I absolutely hated it. Those bug me. Other animals. So I guess for me, funny enough, even though I don't live near an ocean or anything, but I have an irrational fear of deep water.
Oh, we talked about this, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But the result of that is that if I don't like where, if anything where you have to see squids or anything like that, like octopuses. This is the funny thing. So an octopus is fine, because octopuses seem a little more chill and a little more.
They're not gonna mess with you, right? They're just gonna kind of leave you alone. Yeah.
Squids seem like you would have a bad day. They seem kind of like the wasps of the underwater world.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I would. I don't like squids. I don't like anything that portrays that. Outside of that, there's nothing else that really bothers me in terms of animals. We have, where I live, there's lots of large wild animals, bears, cougars, elk, deer, whatever. So it's kind of okay, that's just nature, right?
That's just nature. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people are afraid of snakes. Snakes don't bother me. I find snakes in my backyard fairly frequently.
I used to catch garter snakes when I was a kid. So they don't.
Snakes don't bother me. I also really don't like ants. I like looking at ants. Ants fascinate me. I've been known to kick over the occasional anthill, just to watch them scurry, because I find it fascinating. But I don't love them around me. I don't want them in. I'm not scared of them, but I just don't like them.
Right.
So and we've had one or two ant infestations in our house that have not been great. We haven't in a long time, but we actually had ants build an anthill underneath. They burrowed underneath our floorboards and built an anthill underneath my dishwasher. No joke.
Boy. Yeah, because it's moist and warm.
And if you leave dirty dishes in there for if you leave it in there for a day or two, it's just perfect access. So And no joke, it's the weirdest thing. Like when I got a new dishwasher, they actually we had to bring out like like the dustpan because there was a full on anthill still behind my old dishwasher. It wasn't active anymore, but all the dirt was there that they brought in, which is crazy.
I forget, that's not a problem for me because I have a basement.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no basement.
so they don't, there's nowhere for them to live. Like there's another floor underneath my dishwasher. So
yeah, that's nice. That is nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Dan also asked, what's your favorite soups for winter? I mean, I'm not a big soup guy. Like I like soup, but I don't like go out of my way to get soup. Like if I'm going to eat a soup, it's like, I hate to say this and how basic I'm going to be with this, but a broccoli cheddar soup from Panera is fine with me. Like I'll do that. I like a good like hearty soup though too. I like something with like potatoes in it or like a beer cheese kind of deal. Like that's a good soup for me. But I'm not a big soup person.
Yeah, I'll do like beef stew is what I'll go for, or believe it or not, Vietnamese pho is kind. That was actually a thing for a lot of years because I used to work. I used to work at a company that, or where the company was located. There was in the southern part of Calgary. There was this really good Vietnamese restaurant, and it became a tradition that those of us who were working over Christmas, like in between Christmas, we would go out for lunch to this Vietnamese restaurant. So we would go and get pho for lunch, and it was always, again, in the winter and at Christmas time. So it wasn't necessarily like a Christmas tradition, but it was, for those of us who were working and, we just wanted to go out somewhere for lunch, we'd always go get Vietnamese. So
yeah, I'm surprised no one asked us any Christmas traditions. Like that's a question that we could do too.
Yeah,
but maybe for another time.
Yeah.
Also, Dan asked this patented wacky question, which I like actually. Yeah. You want to read that one since I
Yeah. So Dan says, every time my dog eats, he then goes over to the couch and wipes his face all over the front of it. Why does he do that? Do other dogs do this too?
Face is dirty, man. It's like using it's like a napkin for the dog,
Right.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. No, my dog does not do this, but my dog definitely has his own little quirks. So mine actually, he will eat most of his food, and then there's a little bit at the back of his bowl that he can't reach because of like just how his face is in the bowl and everything. So he will actually bark at us to move the food out of the back of the bowl so he can finish eating. Yeah. So
see, my annoyance. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, dogs all have their own little quirks.
Yeah. So my dog does not wipe his face on the couch. However, I mean, he actually does do this after he gets groomed because he's like itchy. So he'll like rub himself on the couch, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But the bigger problem is my dog will not eat at his bowl. He takes a mouthful of food, brings it into our living room, drops it on the floor, then eats it. And, doesn't usually completely eat it, usually leaves stuff behind. And so there's like a trail of dog food always between my living room and his bowl. And it drives me absolutely insane. Like,
sounds like you need a little carpet for your dog to eat on.
No, you know what? No, he's got a whole thing. We've tried everything. If you change anything up, he gets afraid of the bowl, right? So like, and then he won't eat it all. What I need is like one of those things from like Jurassic Park that they had for like the raptors, where just to hold his face in. You know what I mean? Like, just need to hold his face in, and so he can just eat there. It drives me crazy. I just want him to eat at the bowl, and so there's not food constantly all over my house.
Right? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about with the velociraptors with their head in the thing. Okay.
Oh.
Just to be clear to everybody out there, that is a joke. I would never do that to my dog. Please understand. Okay, I'm kidding. I don't want to get any hate mail. We haven't gotten any hate mail in a while, so please, no hate mail.
We love our dogs.
Yeah, of course, most of the time. Anyway, my dog's getting a little older, and he's starting to have some issues, and it's both sad and frustrating. So it's Anyway.
I've been there too. I've had an older dog that I've had to adapt to. So
yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do
All right.
our last ad of the year, and then we can get into some news stuff.
Okay.
All right, so our sponsor of this episode is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2021, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. Okay, a couple quick DVC items. So for anybody that's going to the Mickey's Christmas party here, very Merry Christmas party, there's like a special DVC event going on, which I actually hadn't heard of this until I read this article.
Yeah. So what it is it's a member exclusive photo and treat spot added to the Christmas party. The dates on this,
There's only one left.
yeah. So they said that it's first started happening December 11th, then the 13th, 16th, and then the 20th. So after this podcast airs, there'll only be one event left. The fact that I'd never even heard about this, and then also that they kind of left it till the end. This seems to be typical right now of how DVC is doing. Operating. Yeah, which I don't like this at all because, since I went to I went to the second Christmas party that happened this year. Obviously there was no chance for me to experience this. And, it would have been nice if maybe they spread them out instead of just, doing them all right at the end of the year. And then also, not advertising it well enough, or, if you happen to be there kind of thing. It just doesn't feel good. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they're doing events like this. They just need to plan them further ahead of time and let people know, right? Like, I like the idea of a special photo op and then special treats. I mean, it's just a nice little added extra. It's not a lot, but it's something, right? Just to make you feel a little special. But they just need to let you know further ahead of time, and they should do it for more dates than just 4 days,
Totally.
Or 5 days.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not like I would cancel going to a Christmas party because I didn't get to go to the DVC, thing. But like you said, it's more a matter of, hey, maybe throw it out there a little bit earlier and, make it, spread it out a little bit more, right? Not everybody can come at the busiest time of the year.
No, agreed. Yeah, agreed. This other item on here too is that our probably our favorite Blue Card benefit, the Epcot Lounge for the DVC Lounge has gotten new seating and new decor, and I have to say, just looking at this, I really like the new furniture, which is very Epcot, right? It's got the shapes and patterns of that evoke Epcot quite a bit, and then I also think it's cool that they put in a photo spot too, which is not something I care about. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. The furniture is very geometric, like you said. It's very, very Epcot looking. I like that they reuse some of the older pieces, and I guess this is a sign of people saying, is the lounge going to go away? Well, if they're reupholstering the furniture and refreshing it, that usually indicates that they're not going to turn it down in 6 months after they just replace the furniture, right? Yeah, exactly.
So that's the first thing. And then second thing, the character spot is like that, proof where it didn't happen kind of thing, right?
Proof that you were in the lounge or it didn't happen. Give me a photo. Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they put up a little photo wall there, and it looks kind of cool. I like it, but it's just funny that that's a thing now. It's just, I got to have a photo spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's always been a thing, right? Surprised it's not sponsored by some sort of. Well, I guess you don't really remember all the photo spots used to be sponsored by Kodak, but nobody does film anymore, right? So
right.
It's
I guess this is also a DVC thing. So if it was sponsored by something else, that wouldn't.
That's fair.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I mean, Disney likes to sponsor things, so.
Yeah.
I actually, when I was there this last time I went to the lounge, we had like a really long conversation with one of the DVC guys, and he was telling us about how like his job is basically just to walk around the lounge and just chat with people. Like he wasn't trying to sell us anything. He wasn't trying to get us to add on. He was literally just like, do you guys need anything? He's like, anything, any DVC thing you need, do you need a tour? You need, everything okay with your room? Like he was just, it's like almost like a concierge kind of thing. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's good. They absolutely need to do that for something like the lounge because, you want to make sure people are actually enjoying it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so I guess maybe this will quell the the typical questions that come out this time of year because, Disney is so great about updating the site about the availability of the lounge and stuff like that. And people, well, are they renewing the lounge? Well, yeah, I think
they are. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it'll be January 2nd and then it'll be like, well, they didn't update the website and they're like, oh, lounge is done. It's over. Just,
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our first look at the new Toy Story restaurant that's coming to Toy Story Land, which, they've shown like little concept art, but now we're getting actual looks at the inside of it. Right. So just and small looks, but
I feel like I saw this already, but I realized it was the concept.
The concept. Well, I mean, that's good then, right? Because it means that they did a really good job of
it's accurate to what they said it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I mean, look, it looks really cool. I think it's a good. I feel like they needed more food options in Hollywood studios. I feel like we're always going to like ABC Commissary. You know what I mean, for like lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is a good option. I always like barbecue. I know, I live in a place that has a lot of good barbecue around, but I doesn't mean I don't enjoy having barbecue. And I think it's nice that it's family style. But the other thing I pulled out of this that I thought was kind of cool was that they actually created like a full on like comic book or comic strip to use in here. Where was that section of this? Oh man. Yeah, there was the whole thing, but about how they created like a comic strip or something.
They designed full comic strips about Woody's adventures which Andy has used as part of the dining room ceiling. So, cool. so the ceiling is actually like, yeah. So yeah, this whole thing is meant to be like Andy built it kind of thing, right? Yeah, exactly. Like how we built scenes for the toys and everything. So yeah, that's interesting.
Kind of theme in Toy Story, Midway Mania, and the whole land, really, right?
Yeah, so. That's interesting though how they actually like made it like what would have been like a 1950s comic strip that was sold with like Woody's Roundup or something. Yeah, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking it's going to be.
Yeah, because it's like they don't need to do that, right? Like if they didn't do that, then nobody would probably notice, But like the idea that they were, to do something like that just for a restaurant, for a detail that nobody's going to notice is kind of nice. But yeah, like listen, by the way, it should be mentioned too that they announced the opening date for not date. They said spring 2023, which if I remember correctly, like 6 months ago, they said that this was going to open this year, but delayed.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm looking through this. I'm actually now really digging. So they've done the wooden. Did you ever have the wooden train track sets?
Oh yeah, I love those when I was a kid.
You put them all together. Yeah, I just noticed that there's a giant one of those in one of these pictures, which I would really appreciate it. Like that was something my kid really enjoyed too when he was younger. Now he's a teenager, so nothing impresses him. But I'll get a kick out of this when we go. And I definitely, like you said, there's not enough or there needs to be more options in Hollywood studios. And I'm hoping that this rings close to, again, like I know you've had a lot of good barbecue. For me, in Disneyland, there used to be, there was a barbecue restaurant, which is actually where Galaxy's Edge is now. Like they took it out because it was behind, or it was in the back part of Frontierland, which became Galaxy's Edge. But it was really good barbecue and I missed that place. And I'm hoping that we get something similar with this.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you have
Yeah.
good barbecue options at the other parks too, right? So Flame Tree is really good at Animal Kingdom. Regal Eagle is good. So it's cool that they're doing a table service and I mean, there's a lot of barbecue on property, I feel like. But hopefully this is a good option, I think, for Hollywood Studios that differs from the other options.
Yep.
All right. So what else we got here? Let's see. There's not a lot of news at the end of the year, right? Like there's not a lot going on between now and the end of the year, but they did update us on some of the things that are happening around the resorts. So like some refurbishments going on. They did talk about how they're adding that they're redoing the lobby at Grand Floridian, which, all right, cool. I mean, if they need to, I guess, right?
Yep.
I think that's probably a good update, but and also Boardwalk. There's that new coffee shop that's coming to Boardwalk, which again I don't care about because I don't drink coffee, but I'm sure some people will care. But a lot of work going on around Boardwalk for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I don't understand Boardwalk well enough.
You just don't get like just the existence of Boardwalk.
Well, because I've never been to like I know you and Damon have both talked about like in New Jersey, like going to actual boardwalks. I have no frame of reference to this. So, whether or not these changes are good or bad, I don't know.
Well, so one of the cool things I like about Boardwalk, right, is has this very like old Asbury Park, New Jersey had like this really kind of, and it still does actually has this really weird vibe to it, like really like almost like carnival kind of vibe to it, and they have a lot of like weird art in that resort and a lot of like the clown face thing, like that was so strange for so long, but it was
and the chairs that I've seen pictures of that are like,
the creepy chairs, absolutely, but that's like very much within the theme of like like old boardwalks in New Jersey, because like you get a lot of that kind of weird stuff there, right? So yeah, but I get it though. If you don't have a frame of reference, if you've never spent time on like a boardwalk, it would just seem kind of weird, right? Like it would just be weird. So
yeah.
So
not to say that I don't like I like weird. So that's fine. It's just I guess I don't have the same attachment to it that I guess other people do about boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I get that.
The other thing too that actually or the other one that they pointed out in here was the contemporary resort.
Oh yeah,
enhancements. So I very much like that they've doubled down on the Mary Blair design. Yeah. Like it seems like they kind of took that and they were like, this is the contemporary. Like it's that I can't remember what Mary Blair's artistic design was called. It's very she focused very much on just colors and shapes because she actually didn't have very good vision. So
yeah, I've seen that before about her. How her vision was not very good, which is really interesting, considering she was like, such a great artist.
Well, I mean art, you don't have to have, physically your vision doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, to do art. But I like that the decor is they're keeping with that like almost 70s design to it.
Like the chairs and everything. Yeah.
But there is still some more modern things to
like
it,
70s modern somehow.
Yeah, which I think is good because it does really define the resort. It keeps absolutely. It like this is the contemporary, but it also I think that because we're looking at it's a 70s-ish aesthetic, it's not going to actually become dated as quickly. Whereas if they did like something just like new and modern, it's like in 5 or 10 years, it's like, well, that was new 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like this a lot, actually. I like the way that the color and the murals and everything are done.
It actually kind of reminds me of how it looks in Top of the World. It has a similar kind of feel to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like it too. I mean, and then they have some pictures from the poly here too. Regular poly, not DVC poly.
Yeah, these are the standard rooms, which I think everything is they've kind of kept it all in line with the same theme, DVC and the standard rooms. I'm glad they finally brought some blue into the poly.
Yeah.
Because that was sorely missing in the rooms before. Like there was not. It was a lot of like brown and orange and stuff.
It's a lot
like
of darker
that,
colors.
Yeah,
this is like much brighter now. Yeah,
yeah, totally. I noticed that when we were there back in November, that the room definitely felt a lot better in terms of like even at night when you have like just the lights on in the room. Before, it felt very like almost like a cave. Because it wasn't very bright, or like the colors weren't very bright. So yeah, this is definitely a huge improvement, I think.
This just reminded me. So they also are doing refurbishments to the All-Star resorts, right? And we were yesterday. My daughter does dance classes, right? And yesterday we were there at her dance class because they were showing us, my daughter's 4, she can dance only so much, right? Like, so, but it's, they were showing us what they've been working on. And before they did that, we were talking to one of the families there, and they are going to Disney right after Christmas. It's like they're doing like the surprise gift for their kids kind of thing. And of course, the first thing we always ask is like, where are you staying? And they were like Caribbean Beach, and we were like, ooh, yeah, okay, great. And she's like,
yeah. Whereas Trinidad is not the best place to be, if I recall.
So she said, so she said she wants to be on the Skyliner, and I said, okay, well that's fair. But then I said to my wife on the way home, it's like, I'd rather stay at Pop Century or at Art of Animation than Caribbean if access to the Skyliner was my number one priority. Like, even though it's a moderate resort, like we stayed in the values before. I don't mind the value resorts, but everyone seems to hate Caribbean, and I just feel like I don't want to stay there. So.
The problem with Caribbean is that it's a sprawling resort, right? Like and it's very much, and we saw this when we stayed there. Is we had the one building we stayed in. If the Skyliner was running, we actually would have been fairly close to it, and it would have been great. But then we did a split stay, so we actually moved into one of the pirate themed rooms for the second part of the trip, and that room was way further away from everything. So if like, it really depends on where you actually stay in Caribbean Beach, which I think that's what your friends are going to find out is if they end up in like a really far back corner somewhere where getting to the bus systems or getting to the Skyliner is a challenge, or even just, getting over to the quick service. Like we found like walking to the quick service took us like 15 minutes, which is like, it's ridiculous. Like it's
a long walk. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't appreciate that after you've been in the parks all day. Right. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's why it's a very hit and miss resort, is that, if you happen to be close to the amenities, great. If you aren't, well, too bad.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the end of this article does mention that they just refurbished the Trinidad rooms at Caribbean. So
which makes sense because I think those were the pirate themed rooms.
Yeah. Exactly. So all right, so that was just a quick resort update, but I mean, it's good to see all these places getting refurbishments. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't mention the Boulder Ridge ones, but I guess which we looked at a couple weeks ago, or I don't know, maybe last month or the month before, but I guess they're not really talking DVC rooms in this article. This is more general rooms, I guess. I think they're just highlighting like resort stuff, not DVC stuff, right? Yeah, which makes sense. So all right. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about either one of these things. I mean, these last two topics here, we do have something, I mean, around some cruise line stuff, but I don't really care that much about that. I do kind of want to look at
skip the cruise line one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's skip the cruise line stuff. Sorry, people. I don't do cruise stuff. So I don't really want to talk about it.
Let's talk about this 100 years of Disney merchandise that's coming out here. Stuff.
The things that are going to replace the current 50th stuff, that this is going to be the only things we find in the park.
So I'm going to tell you right now, the platinum ears that they have is the first thing on here. I have
the
no
melty ones.
Yeah, it's not my, I don't know. It's not my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some people will be into it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about this, honestly. Like, it's,
for those that haven't seen it, it's like dripping platinum color. Like, so it looks like somebody poured like platinum over top of ears and just let it drip. Right? Wouldn't you describe it that way?
Yeah, it's like mercury or something metallic over them.
It's supposed to be platinum. This was but yeah,
that's what they say it is. But yeah, okay.
But yes, it kind of looks. It's very silver and very shiny.
Yeah. I'm not feeling those at all. The purple and platinum though is a little better. I think that's the thing. Is just platinum by itself is very.
It's a bit much.
Yeah. And then why they decide to do like the poured effect over it? Like I'm going further down the list, and there's a bag here that has like the mini ears on it, and it's the same. It's like why the melting? Like what is
that about? Yeah, what's the significance of that? Yeah.
Like I get the platinum, and like so looking at the rest of this, the purple combined with the platinum, I think is very good, and like there's these ornaments down towards the bottom that
those are cool.
They look. It looks like a classic, classic Mickey, classic Goofy, and then Donald and Daisy look a little more updated because they actually have the yellow in there. But it's it actually really does make the colors pop with the having the older or it almost looks like a black and white, but then they've colorized it. Yeah, so I like that, and I understand that 100 years of Disney, they're trying to throw back to the original cartoons and stuff like that, but then update them. Why you decided to pour metal over your ears, though? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. So. By the way, this is just a preview of stuff to come. I guess this, there's going to be more, right? So this is just,
don't get me wrong. I get they want to celebrate this stuff. I was really disappointed on my last trip that it was like that merchandise just overran everything.
Yeah,
like,
I get you.
You could not go anywhere without them. Like, hey, here's our 50th anniversary. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, I know, you're trying to sell this stuff. I know you couldn't sell this stuff because of COVID or whatever, but just I don't want just one thing. A little variety, please.
I'm not a fan of the Spirit jerseys too. We talked about this before. I don't really like the Spirit jerseys. It's just not my thing. I mean, I feel like most of this stuff is not stuff that would appeal to me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like a. And I assume the rest of the merchandise that comes out, actually, I mean, the purple might work, I think actually it'd probably be more. My wife definitely likes purple, so
that's what I'm saying. I'm not one to rock purple.
Yeah. My wife would probably like some of the things that come of this, but just the platinum stuff is not. That's not something that I think any of us in our family would go for.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Should we just wrap this thing up and then go away for the holidays? And so just for everybody's knowledge, right? So we're gonna have this episode that comes out on the 19th. So you're listening to this now. This one came out on the 19th. We're gonna have a wait list after Christmas, and then for New Year's we are not gonna have a show, and then we will be back on the 9th. Yeah, it should be the 9th, right? Yeah. So we'll be back on the 9th. And with a new show. So thanks everybody for listening this year. We appreciate it. Hope everybody has happy holidays. But let's go ahead and wrap up, and we can do more of that if we want to after we wrap up.
Yeah. So as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. Maybe. Since we're talking Christmas stuff, if you guys want to share some of your own Christmas things with us, we would love to hear that, and maybe it'll get on an episode when we come back. You never know. I guess, or if you're like Dan and just want to share random stuff with us, that's cool too. We like that as well. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, and same on YouTube. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's Welcome Home Pics. I would definitely follow us there for any upcoming stuff with trips and whatnot. We are going to have more trips scheduled in 2023. And, those are great places to keep track of what we're up to. Also want to shout out the Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. Make sure you guys join that because it's a great place to talk with us and other listeners about stuff you've heard on the podcast. So please check that out. And if you want to help support the podcast, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out. Sorry, as I almost choked there. Go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our merchandise. We've got hats. Sorry, not hats. I keep wanting to say hats. We don't have hats there. Maybe we should have hats. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, if you want t-shirts, mugs, stuff like that, you can check it out on there. And if you want something a little different, go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different levels of Patreon support. Those will also get you access to the Discord server, which is yet another place where we like to have conversations with our fans. And last but not least, if you are listening on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review because it does help more people find the podcast. And we do like hearing your feedback as well.
Yeah, and I don't have any new. I don't think I have any new reviews for this week.
I didn't expect we would because I feel a lot of people are kind of winding down for Christmas like we are. So that's fair.
Yeah, we just had that pizza review that I read on the 200. So, So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any other podcast app out there. You can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult with a Disney cast member or DVC representative for more information about anything we talked about today. A huge thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode, and of course, World of DVC for continuing to be our sponsors. And so, like I said, happy holidays, everybody. I hope you enjoy your Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you're celebrating this time of year. Please have a safe and happy holiday. We thank you so much for listening to us all, over many years, but also just especially this year. So thank you so much for listening, and we're looking forward to talking to you guys more next year. So join us next time for more Disney Park discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.